Chapter 3. April Fools. Todd looked down at the little cat scratching and clawing at his ankle. He laughed and leaned down to pet Thor, but the kitten jumped off his ankle and back into the bag. He thinks he's a hermit crab, Todd said. He just found himself a shell. As the days passed, Thor outgrew his little box. He climbed onto the couch for his daily naps and slept with Todd at night. One afternoon, Todd stepped into the living room and found the kitten all stretched out on the couch. I can tell whether it's hot or cold by watching Thor sleep, he told Mom. When it's cold, he curls all up in a little ball, even tucks his nose into his fur. When it's hot, he stretches out as long as he can. Mom nodded. I hadn't thought about it, but that's exactly what he does. The kitten had more than doubled his size. His fur had changed from a thin, rough pink to snow white to a shiny, thick, pale cream color. His nose, ears, feet, and tail had some brown hairs coming in. God must really have fun deciding on color combinations for all of his animals, Todd thought. For sure, he always came up with perfect colors. When do you think I can stop giving Thor bottles during the night? Todd asked one evening after worship. He still gets me up every night. Dad laughed. One thing for sure, Todd, you've proven to be a good father. He should be able to go all night now, Mom said. I think he's spoiled. Why don't we start giving him cat food? Molly said. He could eat that by himself if he got hungry. Everyone thought that was a great idea. So after a trip to the grocery store, Todd put a jar lid filled with canned kitty tuna on his bedroom floor against the wall. I'll just put him over there when he gets hungry, Todd said. In a couple of days, he'll get it by himself. Todd gave Thor a bottle and took him to bed that night. But the kid didn't wait for Todd to show him the tuna. He scrambled right out of bed and ran to it. He ate all he could hold and then sat over the food. After a while, he fell asleep. His chin dropped into the tuna. He jerked awake, ate a few bites, and then sat there until he fell asleep again. Todd carried the greedy kitten to bed 3 times, but Thor wanted the tuna so badly he couldn't leave it. I got less sleep than ever, Todd grumbled in the morning. That cat's such a pig, he tried to stay awake all night. Finally, he decided to give Thor his canned food in the daytime and dry food at night. It worked, and before long, Thor got a bottle only when someone felt like giving him one. He still got plenty of bottles. He had learned to hold his own bottle with all 4 little feet. Everyone thought it was so cute, so they kept giving him bottles. Mom had 2 orange trees, one grapefruit tree, and one lemon tree in the living room, beside the big windows. One evening, Thor decided he was old enough to climb trees. He chose the smallest, the grapefruit, which stood about 5 feet tall. Hey, Molly said, Thor's in the tree. Todd's eyes jerked to the tree in time to see the limb waving like crazy. As Todd watched, the cat fell from the upper side of the branch. He clung to the flapping limb with all 4 feet, his body swinging underneath. Finally, Todd managed to get himself together and caught the kitten before he fell to the carpet. Thor snuggled close to Todd for 15 minutes. He trembled as if he had nearly fallen from a tall pine tree. You should have let him fall, Molly said. Mommy doesn't want him to wreck her trees. Mom looked up from her crossword puzzle. Her eyes twinkled. I don't think he'll climb the trees too often, she said. Remember the thorns? Todd nodded. He remembered the thorns, all right. Whenever he and Molly got balloons, the trees popped them. Todd decided to watch his cat even more carefully. Those trees would pop Thor if he messed around with them much. One morning, Todd crawled from his bed, trying not to wake Thor. But as usual, the cat tore out through the door about the time Todd's feet hit the floor beside his bed. Todd pulled on his sock and then shoved his foot into a shoe. Crack! When he pulled his foot out, eggshell clung to his sock as well as yellow and clear slimy stuff. Molly jumped into the room, laughing so hard she held her sides. April Fools! She yelled, then collapsed onto Todd's bed in gales of laughter. Todd didn't find it quite as funny as Molly, but he had to admit it was a good trick. He had forgotten that it was April 1, April Fool's Day. He grinned at her. Good trick. Now, how about helping me clean up the mess before Mom sees the carpet? They cleaned the carpet together. Then he took his sneaker to the bathroom and washed it out. After drying the inside the best he could with a washcloth, he put it on. It felt only a little squishy. After breakfast, he found his windbreaker hood strings tied together. April Fools! Molly yelled. Todd came home from school that day, ready for a rest from April Fool's tricks. He played with Thor a while, then Dad came home and they played a basketball game before supper. After supper, he walked into the living room and picked Thor off the couch. The cat's face had turned blue. What could have happened to him? He raced into the kitchen with the kitten. Something's wrong with Thor, he yelled. Mom turned and looked at the kitten, her face wearing a puzzled look. Todd held Thor gently in his arms, looking at his pet's face. He felt his heart in his throat. Something awful must be wrong to turn Thor's face all blue, he squeaked. He felt tears behind his eyes. He pled with God to make his kitten be all right. April Fools! Molly yelled, laughing so hard she had to drop into a chair. What do you mean? Mom asked. She laid down her dish towel and took the kitten. Then she turned to Molly. What did you do to this cat, young lady? I put blue food. She could hardly speak through her laughter. Coloring on his hair. And she finally finished. Todd's face turned bright red. He grabbed his little sister and held her arms hard. What were you trying to do? Kill him? He bellowed. How do you know that food coloring won't hurt him really bad? I'm sick of you and your dumb April Fool's stuff.